Hello, friends and extended family. Um, Sorry I haven't made a video for a little while. I had a bit of downtime there. I, as far as updates for court go, my lawyer sent me an email and basically saying he was going to set an appointment for September 4th, and he was going to go do that himself, as he could have done instead of dragging me to court, thinking we were going to get some resolution. Um, so I don't know. I don't know if that's just a lawyer who's maybe trying to bill some extra hours, be a legal aid, which is supposed to be sort of a charity type situation, which I think has just turned into I don't know. I don't want to comment on it because it's pessimistic. I am the I am quite the skeptic and quite the pessimist in a lot of areas. The critical thinking, and I think maybe that's because I really gave everyone the benefit of the doubt. I gave my families the benefit of the doubt. I gave my country, my professionals. I gave everyone the benefit of the doubt, and that was incorrect. The critical thinking is definitely the way to go. Sherlock Holmes had it right. Eliminate everything else, and what you're left with is the truth. And anyways, I mean, it is what it is. And the best I can do at this point now, I think, is to become that critic, and explain where the world has kind of the paths I've taken that have been dead ends. Um, because 43 years is a long time to go and hit a dead end, and realize that a lot of these things could have been avoided, and I could have saved a lot of time by just knowing the truth off the start, instead of people trying to sugarcoat things and sell us on these fanciful lies. Because in all reality, I think when we truthfully look at the world the way it stands, is that it's a bunch of bullshit lies, and for us to get to the truth, we need to do a lot of backtracking, and we got to see how we were misdirected. So that's where I am. On another note, a more positive note, I got a really nice email from one of my soon-to-be subscribers once they fix their technical issues. And I always love hearing from you guys, and I don't get tons and tons of correspondence, and I always try to reply. My written replies tend to be a little bit short. When I read a long letter, I absorb it, and the details kind of get lost in a feeling and sensation, and I try to get back, and I try to reply to all the questions, and hopefully I do. And then, while it's fresh in my mind, I try and put out a video. So thank you for my new correspondent, and I look forward to hearing your questions and your ideas for future topics. Um, and anyone who wants to give me a topic, that wants to hear my opinion on a certain subject, or my experiences with things, or wants me to expand on things I've already discussed, I mean, that's fine. Um, I like to talk. I like to talk openly and honestly. And I've sort of been deprived of that for the majority of my life, because the topics I like to talk about are the things that aren't talked about, and personally I feel are the most important for personal growth, spiritual growth, mental growth, all those things. And I feel like they're swept under the carpet, kind of kept from us. And I think if more people talked about these things openly with others, that I think we'd live in a better world. if something is negative and brings people down, okay, well, let's talk about it and see if there's a way we can turn that around. We have lots of smart people that have been passed over for very stupid people. And those stupid people end up in positions of power and authority. And then we end up with worse and worse situations that nobody wants to talk about because you know, it's designed that way in a crazy way. And it's fun to talk about these ridiculous things. It's fun to look and laugh at the silliness of it all, because it is silly. It's like the Wizard of Oz pulling back that curtain and seeing that silly old man back there fumbling around, and then having him come out and being this source of huge wisdom. He's supposed to be this source of massive wisdom and magic and mystery. And when it comes down to it, well, all he's got is very pragmatic little solutions to these people's problems. There's no great mystery to the problems that they have. It's just, well, here's a diploma, and now you're in charge and you have a brain. And that's, I mean, as silly as those things are, that's the reality of the world we're living in, right? We're looking for this great grandiose answer to this complexity that we find ourselves in, and all we really have to do is look at this complexity and realize it's not complexity at all. It's simple silliness and immaturity and greediness, and there's no great mystery to those things to do with our society at all. And it simply takes some people willing to stand up and say no, or stand up and point out that the emperor's not wearing any clothes. We know those fairy tales from a child. I mean, all the answers are unpackable even there. I mean, you don't have to get into the great, spiritual texts and mysteries to have the truth available to you. So anyway, that's sort of my take on that. So again, thank you for that letter to that viewer. And she had mentioned also that the way I present these ideas and I guess my vulnerabilities and talking about my issues so openly, and my courage to do so. And thank you, but I don't want to come across like I'm this courageous person that's standing up and telling the truth how it is, because I am hiding behind my birth name. And this isn't to try to make anyone feel bad. It's simply to talk about my feelings, because I've been unable to do so because we have the adoptive parents and the birth families pretending still that what they were involved in was okay and was for the best, when in reality, I mean, it's happened. I mean, I'm accepting of these things, but let's quit pretending, right? Let's come out of the pretend, and let's be honest and truthful and everything, and then we can move forward in a better, more legitimate, sincere manner than what we've been doing in the past, which is it's pretend. And unfortunately, the adoptees know it's pretend. And if we're honest with ourselves, I think it's pretty obvious that what's going on here isn't very natural. What else have I been doing? I've been working on my mycology, thinking of getting some books to do some more study of the mushrooms and to understand the whole process better, down to the microscopic level, where it starts with the spores and things like that. And working on my relationships in real life, which are few, and trying to make time to talk to to some of you viewers from around the world, from your different perspectives, and I love to hear from you all. I hope my friends in Ontario are doing well, across the ocean in the Netherlands, and down southern in the southern states and things like that, Germany, etc. What else did I want to talk about today? I had a whole plethora of things. I checked my Facebook feed before I came on here, and my YouTube feed, and I don't know, the world, the news and things that are going on in the media and the alternative media are frustrating, to say the least. I don't watch a lot of the mainstream media because I find it to be complete, utter horse manure, and not the good kind that I like to use for my mushrooms. It's hard to come by. But yeah, I mean, I guess I could get into those sort of topics nonstop, and it seems like most people are. And to be honest, I'd like to keep this channel more about um, the adoption, drunk driving, mental health issues, things like that. And unfortunately, they do sometimes tie into the politics, and they are influenced for the sake of economics and corruption, utilizing the adoptees to become consumers, you know, for negative addictive products. I think we're very susceptible to that. So what else? What else? I'm drawing a blank, I'm afraid. I'm only nice short little 12-minute video for you guys, and didn't have a ton to say. But I will try and get back on track. And please do leave your topics and comments in the video, and I will reply to them. There's never a huge urgency um, for me to share my inner thoughts because I'm quite used to keeping them to myself for so many years. But at the same token, I mean, when things get harsh, then they emerge, and that's how these videos started. When I just couldn't keep them in anymore, there was just too many. But at the same token, if you want to hear about them, I'm more than happy to discuss anything on any level. And I think, if you watched all my videos, then you know that, because I've talked about some things that you don't hear every day, that's for sure. And we can go from there. And as my viewer had taken note, that I am going through a transition, not a male to female or anything like that, but in a larger scale, I'm transitioning from a secular atheist sort of upbringing that was my better life that I was given into expanding into the higher learning, the higher faculties, and the spiritual, and growing those things that were kind of deprived from me, and getting in touch with my emotions for the first time, my actual emotions, right? Not the pretend ones that I was forced to, I was forced to pretend to be someone I wasn't my entire life, right? To fit in with these other people as if they knew what they were doing, which they did not. Instead of being accepted for who I am and who I already was as a person, and being allowed to grow into myself naturally. So I know that doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense. Even when I'm speaking the words, it's not quite right, but hopefully you get the gist, the general gist, in that I can kind of see the blueprint of what I was supposed to be, and I find it sad that instead I tried to please others and grow into some sort of idea that they never really thought through and never really understood. Like just the other day, I was thinking about the fact of how I love philosophy and I love, mythology and I love theology. I love learning about these things. And when I was trying to figure out my future, my career and stuff, and this was my passion that my family, my adoptive family, had discouraged me pursuing philosophy and things like that because, well, how are you going to make money at that? So instead, I veered towards business and things which I hated and I had no passion for. I mean, I was good at the numbers and things like that, but still, I mean, if you don't love it and you don't enjoy it, well, I was going to have to take Ritalin and drugs to get that work done because I had no interest. So, anyways, I digress. I just wanted to pop in, say hello to everyone, and thank you again for all the support I do get. I imagine anti-adoption videos aren't going to make me overly popular on the YouTube platform, but I think over time, and I've got some people down south trying to help me out with maybe setting up PayPal, banking accounts, this sort of thing. Maybe I can get my videos onto different platforms and stuff. And with the help of the Celtic counseling lady who's been, sharing my videos as well, and I really appreciate her and her time and head over to the Celtic counseling for some soothing therapy for the pain and trauma of adoption. So yeah, there's just so many influences, and I try to go over them throughout the videos, who I found helpful and what sources. And the other thing is that eventually I think it's almost time to do a recap of my life story, so you guys can have a good um, outline of where I've come from, what I've been through, and which I share a lot of events with you folks. Um, to give you reference points of what I've been through, what I've overcome, where I'm at, etc. So, anyways, you all take care. I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can. And again, please just send the emails off to citizenbrianjames@gmail.com, or you can join my Facebook, which is populated by bots, by 5,000 bots or something like that, which is another story in one of my other videos. But anyways, I just add you as a really good friend or whatever it is on Facebook so I can differentiate and try and keep track of everybody. But again, like other people, I'm not the most tech savvy of anyone, and if anyone wants to help out with any of that, feel free to hit me up, and I will accept your help for sure. If you're tech savvy, you can set up those things, snippety snap, and you're all about multimedia or media, blah, blah, blah. Well, if I'm helping you, you can help me, right? So, anyways, take care, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon, I hope.